It was a stormy Monday morning in Jackson Heights, a small but historically divided town nestled deep in the American South. The tension in the air was as heavy as the gray clouds rolling over the horizon. Officer Mark Benson, a seasoned patrolman with over 15 years on the force, was already in a sour mood. The dispatcher had messed up his shift time. His patrol car was low on gas, and the coffee he picked up from the station was cold. He needed an outlet. Driving down Oak Ridge Avenue, Mark noticed a black SUV parked slightly crooked along the curb in front of City Hall. Standing beside the vehicle was a well-dressed black man in a tailored gray suit, quietly reviewing a document in a leather portfolio. Mark narrowed his eyes. "Who parks like that in front of government property?" he muttered. He flicked on his sirens and pulled over with exaggerated flair. Stepping out of the vehicle, Mark approached the man with unwarranted authority. "Hey, you can't park here like that." "What? You think you own the place?" he barked. The man looked up, calm and composed. "Good morning, officer. I'm just reviewing some papers before a meeting inside. I won't be long." "That's not what I asked. I said you're parked illegally. Let's see some ID." The man raised an eyebrow. "Is there a reason you need to see my identification? I haven't committed a crime." Mark stepped closer, his tone growing aggressive. "Don't get smart with me. You people think you can talk your way out of anything." And before the man could respond, it happened. Mark spat. A thick glob of disdain landed squarely on the man's polished shoe. A few pedestrians gasped from across the street. The man looked down slowly, then up at Mark. His expression never changed. "You done?" he asked quietly. Mark laughed sarcastically. "Yeah, I'm done talking to you. Move your car before I tow it." The man closed his portfolio, stepped around Mark, and walked calmly into City Hall. Mark scoffed and got back into his cruiser, feeling victorious in some small, toxic way. 2 hours later, the Jackson Heights Police Department was buzzing. Officers gathered in the briefing room, straightening their uniforms and muttering among themselves. Word had spread that the new police chief, a replacement for the recently retired Chief Hammond, was about to be introduced. Mark stood in the back with his arms crossed. "Bet some old bureaucrat from the state," he whispered to his partner. The mayor stepped to the podium. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Today, we welcome a new chapter in Jackson Heights law enforcement. Please give a warm welcome to our new chief of police, Mr. Isaiah Freeman." A round of polite applause followed. Mark clapped lazily until he saw who stepped through the door. The same man from the SUV. Mark's hands stopped clapping. Isaiah Freeman walked in confidently, dressed in the same gray suit, now adorned with a subtle police badge on his lapel. He surveyed the room with calm authority, then met Mark's stunned gaze and held it. "Thank you, Mayor," Isaiah said, stepping to the podium. "It is an honor to serve as chief of police for the city. I grew up not far from here, and I know what this town has been and what it can become." Mark felt his face burn. He looked down, praying not to be recognized. But Isaiah didn't skip a beat. "Before I begin outlining the changes coming to this department, I want to make one thing very clear. Accountability will be the cornerstone of our leadership. We cannot enforce justice if we do not embody it." The room went quiet. A few officers shifted in their seats. Every officer, regardless of tenure, will be evaluated. Conduct matters on and off duty. Mark felt his stomach twist. Over the next few weeks, Chief Freeman made good on his word. Body camera footage from the last 12 months was reviewed. Community complaints were re-examined. Officers were required to attend racial bias training and participate in town halls with local citizens. Some grumbled. Others quietly cheered. Mark tried to keep a low profile, hoping no one would connect the dots. But the day came when he was called into Chief Freeman's office. Isaiah sat behind a desk, his hands folded, a personnel file open in front of him. "Officer Benson," he began, "do you remember our encounter 3 weeks ago in front of City Hall?" Mark shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, I didn't realize who you were." "That's not the problem," Isaiah said, leaning forward. "The problem is how you treated someone you didn't know." He slid a printed still from a nearby security camera across the desk. It clearly showed the moment Mark spat on him. "I could fire you on the spot," Isaiah said, but I believe in a different kind of justice." Mark blinked, confused. Isaiah continued, "You're going to apologize. Publicly. At the next town meeting. And after that, you're enrolling in every course this department has on racial sensitivity, community engagement, and ethics. You'll also spend 2 months on foot patrol in Northridge, where most of the complaints against you originated." Mark swallowed hard. "And if I refuse?" "Then you resign. Today." There was a long pause. Mark nodded slowly. "Yes, sir." The town meeting was packed. Cameras rolled as citizens gathered, many with crossed arms and skeptical eyes. Mark stood on the stage, pale and nervous. Isaiah introduced him. "This officer has something to say." Mark stepped forward, cleared his throat, and began. "A few weeks ago, I acted in a way that does not reflect the values this badge is supposed to represent. I disrespected a man who deserved respect. I let my bias get the better of me, and I hurt not just him, but this community. For that, I sincerely apologize." There was silence, then a few nods, then applause scattered but sincere. Isaiah took the microphone. "This is what change looks like. It's uncomfortable. It's necessary. And it's just the beginning." Months passed. Mark walked the streets of Northridge, meeting families, helping at community events, and listening. Really listening. It wasn't easy. He was yelled at, ignored, challenged. But he kept showing up. One day, a boy named Jamal ran up to him. "You the cop who spit on Chief?" Mark winced. "Yeah, I am." Jamal shrugged. "He said you were trying to be better now. You gonna come to the school barbecue?" Mark smiled. "Wouldn't miss it." Back at HQ, Isaiah watched the footage of Mark shaking hand with Jamal's father, a former critic of the department. He nodded quietly to himself. Change wasn't fast. It wasn't clean, but it was happening.